and targeted disability service organizations offering specific services in addition to the mainstreaming strategy that we are using. So you'll find that we have 4 organizations that are government quasi-institutions and government grant-aided, ensuring to include persons with disabilities on promotion and advocacy for inclusion, participation, and independent living. And then we have another organization for specific microfinancing, entrepreneurship development, and skills development to persons with disabilities. And we have another organization specific to ensure accessible communication and information to persons with disabilities. So our experience has been decentralizing the targeted services at persons with disabilities with no debate, and also mainstreaming with the quota system of reserving slots on any government programming and implementation. Thank you.
If the CBR field workers, which we used in the field in the community level, are sustainable as it is project-based. Yes, it is true. The initial experience was to collaborate with local leaders and recruit a volunteer to implement or to coordinate a community-level activity of CBID. Then, after we successfully implemented the pilot project, we advocate for that through the government, because to ensure sustainability, the CBR should be amended into a government program. Currently, the CBID guideline has been revised, and it included what we call a parasocial workers. A parasocial workers is a volunteer based in community level. It is like a 5-inch village. It means that it is the lowest level in charge of community and social development. Currently, those are the ones who are now working as CBR volunteers at the community level in Uganda. They are under the government authority, which is the Ministry of Local Government, which will be also have received the incentive from the ministry. This was what we learned from the program, and we changed the approach of having a CBR volunteers based on the project, but should be embedded into a government structure. Like as I said, we are now engaging social workers for the sustainability of a CBID program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Henry, are you there to respond to your question?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you for your question. The question is concerning the national platform. Yes, I have people with disabilities. And this ministry is working to make everyone together. If you see in the past we had disabilities. But for now, we want to have, my proposition is to have one platform that can put together every group of people with disabilities and every organization of persons with disabilities. If we have this platform, it can help to hear the voice of people with disabilities together, not separately, one by one, or each type of disability is claiming its needs. We want to have all people with disabilities, all organizations of people with disabilities together in order to make action, to make action that...
The last round of questions. Anyone with a burning question will be winding up very shortly. So let's take 3-4 more. Yes, so very quick.
Thank you. My name is Lilian Kembawas. I work with Humanity and Inclusion. My first, it's not a question, but I would like to understand from the presenter from Zambia, Sishe, Yeah, I saw in your presentation good pictures about home modification using the locally available materials. I would like to know the approach, like how you did it, whom did you engage? Did you hire an expert to do that? Was it the community itself, the family? Like, I would like to understand how you approached it to have it successful. Then about from Rwanda, the first presenter, Jane, the parent support groups you mentioned, you formed groups of males. I don't know if it slipped my mind. I would like to know if you had instances where you had to mix both males and females, or also groups of female caregivers. And maybe this may not be answered here, but we could continue discussing about the different approaches. But maybe generally, is it possible to have these presentations shared with us? And finally, for Winfred from Tanzania, I would like to know for assistive devices, are these fabricated, or you've also ventured into locally, making locally made assistive devices? If yes, maybe briefly sharing your experience, because at least these ones are cost-effective, affordable.
Let me stop you for now.
Patrick Okonyo from Adina Foundation, Uganda. We are located in Beira City. My question goes to a presenter from Rwanda, and maybe probably from Tanzania, because they are into the grassroots. Today I've learned where it empowers the local communities, for example, to actually take ownership of their projects and what they do with the intervention of their partners. Now I've realized that one of the strengths is actually community ownership. So I wanted to learn from my dear colleagues how they have ensured that this approach of CBID has actually empowered the local community actually to drive their own development, fostering a sense of ownership and accountability. Thank you.
The last question there.
Presentation. I would like to know how you are able to deal with the challenge of denial, especially with caretakers of children with disabilities. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's have the responses.
NGOs and CSOs. Our landscape is such that our rural areas are far from the medical services that our children or persons with disabilities would access, and hence our decentralization of information for caregivers and parents to make assistive devices or support systems with locally available resources. So we have been supported by various partners to get to where we are. Thank you.
Is the assistive devices. Of course, we make them locally because, as we said, we are visiting rural areas, so we cannot choose the fabricated one because we want them to be sustainable. The wheelchairs, the walking bars, everything is more of the local one. I'll explain later personally. And the second question was concerning the CBID, how we do it and how we make sure that people understand what we're doing. In our organization, our roadmap is the CBR matrix. We use the elements to bring the education to the people. And after the interventions, we normally have an annual evaluation of whatever we did. It could be 6 months, it could be a year, so that we can see whatever we did has brought about an impact. And the third question was more of how do we deal with clients with denial. We normally do the psychosocial approach and providing about the psychoeducation and being honest as possible concerning the given disability and bringing about specifics in interventions and the prognosis of whatever we're doing. Thank you.
It has like both mother and father, but the most dominant number is mothers. That has also another meaning. And also there is a part of the we did not manage to make a specific parents groups like caregivers, as you mentioned, to just reduce the burden of many initiatives in community. Just take some few groups and reinforce that. The second was but we can discuss about it and how it works, what's their roles, not only saving and loan, but also an approach of sharing experience, sharing information. Also an approach of heal me and I heal you, where they exchange stories. During the exchange, some of the parents can benefit from that. That was about the presentation. Probably the organizer will have the majority to share both together instead of one by one. The last question is how the asked about the strengthening of the community for awareness and accountability and ownership. This also starts by assessing baseline assessment, assessing the need. What the CBID program comes to solve at the community level. First of all, we did the baseline. We found that at the community level there is a problem of negative mindset and we believe some community members, like neighbors of child or personalities, they think that disability is coming from other like certain powers or anywhere. So just the CBID can like work on the negative mindset. When through training, awareness, when the community change mindset is able to accommodate, to provide support, to provide a health ticket, to contribute to the home growing solution, public works. There is many approaches and many successful when you remove the barrier related to attitude and the beliefs around the community members. So we also have to share the videos to showcase how it has an impact and how it works where you are engaging the community within a CBID program. Thank you.
Physically and eventually, special thanks to you for your informative and educative presentations. Shall we give them a last hand as we wind up the session? Any announcements, Sarah? We are now breaking off for tea, then we should be able to come back here at 4:30 for a plenary. So just check your program. There is an activity going on immediately after tea. So we are all invited for tea. Thank you so much.
Council and UVRI here in Entebbe, and I've come together with a team of 30, and I would like to ask those who are here to stand up for recognition. All those who are working with us at MRC, please do stand up. And those who are on the board. Okay, so we are here to share with you today an experience that is not only ours, but also part of Makerere University and the National Council for Persons with Disabilities. We had a capacity building and mentoring program with youth with disabilities last year, and in that we made a participatory film, which we are going to show you. So why did we do this? I think we all know here that people with disabilities are underrepresented, but as a research organization, our main aim is to make sure that people with disabilities are not only included as participants, but also included as researchers. And therefore, we made sure that we did a study whereby we developed and implemented youth-led research, and we created possibilities for employment. So 6 of the youth researchers that are here with us today are now also employed with us and are contributing to our health research, our education research, and our participation research. So we did this through a program in which we had trainings, we had internships, and we had research together with the youth. And I'm going to ask my colleague Ronald Kamusine to share with us how that was done. Sorry. Naomi is going to tell us first, and then Ronald will tell us. Naomi, please join us.
Please allow me to share with you the inclusive recruitment process with the youth researchers, where that we went through, adverts were shared to different networks of OPDs, and over 200 applications were received. From the 200 applications, 30 were selected, and recruitment was done in pairs, where a youth with disability applied and was also recruited along with a youth without disability. After this, this recruitment was done in pairs, and the interview was also conducted. Interviews were conducted in pairs, and one of the activities was to assess the communication skills for the youth with disabilities, and another activity was to assess their teamwork spirit. After the recruitment process, 14 youth researchers were given jobs. And this was done following the impairment categories and gender representation. This was followed by trainings. MRC organized trainings for the 14 youth researchers, which aim to equip us with skills in research, because we are aiming to implement our own project. We adopted the Youth Research Academy manual from Zimbabwe to Disability Research Training Manual for Uganda, and with the help of key stakeholders. In these trainings, reasonable accommodation was provided. We are taken through a 5-day training in qualitative research and other 5 days follow-up trainings. Finally, these trainings were assessed as well. Later on, we went on for the research internship, where we are attached on different ongoing projects at MRC and Makerere University as well, where we stayed for 3 months. And each pair was given a mentor, and we worked in pairs. This internship was as well evaluated. Thank you so much. Allow me to invite my colleague.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Just to share that life history data, collection and then analysis. We have, through this data, we have even written a paper titled My Sisters, My Eyes. Then these life stories explored experiences of youth research of youths with disabilities in social participation with a focus on research, education, and employment. The youth researchers also transcribed and analyzed the life history data with the support of the research team. But I wish to note that tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, you do not wish to miss the presentation that will be done on our paper, My Sister is My Eyes. So look out for it tomorrow. Like the doctor highlighted earlier, we did co-create a participatory film. Why did we have to co-create a film? We are doing research. Why did we have to create a film? One is to raise awareness about the inclusion of youths with disabilities in research. We know that many youths have been with research, have been involved in research, but they are just participants or even just subjects of study, but they are not researchers. But these projects aim to ensure that we let the youths get involved in research as researchers, because we all know, or even we are going to learn tomorrow, the benefits of including youth with disabilities in research. We are going to listen from the film. Giving a voice to the youth with disabilities. We have often, as researchers, spoken on behalf of the youth, but we know that it is very important to listen from the horse's mouth. Rigid to change, they're still stuck on the old adages, but we want that there should be inclusion, there should be change, there should be embracing diversity in employment of persons with disabilities in areas of research. And yes, that's why we came up with this research. Another most important issue was to build capacity by improving the technical and the creative skills of youths with disabilities. We just know that we are very blessed with the skills. In the morning, you saw how the children were singing. Such skills, if they are not fathered, they may die there. So I want to foster community networks by forming connections and relationships with others. Through the film process, the youth researchers would get ways of how they build their community and support each other, as we know how we do it Africans. How did we come up with the film? We had 2 or 3 phases. First of all was the preparatory phase. This included brainstorming about the ideas on how our film will look like. We set the objectives for this film, and then we also make sure that in this stage we select our participants. We did this through a workshop with youth researchers. When we finished doing all that, we proceeded to the participatory phase. In this participatory phase of our filmmaking process, there was a preparation of the storyboards. This is where we write our script and see what we want to include in the film. And then there was a reviewing of the drafts after the shooting. We reviewed the draft through also a workshop with the youth researchers, and then the participants. The last phase was the action phase. My colleagues have shared about. Then our mentors and the stakeholders at Medical Research Council and Makerere University Child Health and Development Center. So we want to employ you to watch our film, hope you enjoy it, and get the message, take it to other organizations to make research more inclusive. Enjoy as you watch.
I wanted to say that as a next step, we are now rolling this out also together with the University of Nairobi. So I'm glad our moderator is from Kenya, and we also are doing this with the University of Rwanda, so that we have an East African network of disability researchers. Enjoy the film.
We are implementing the Disabled Youth Investigative Program, which is all about making sure that youth with disabilities are included in research. Over the years, we've done a lot of different types of research. We've done health research, education research, and often youth and children with disabilities are left out. Yet they comprise 15% of the population. So if we don't include them, our research will not be representative.
The idea was to dismantle the stereotypes associated with the people with disabilities in view of carrying out research.
After they were recruited, they received a one-week training which was really about how do you support a peer, how do you do research, what are sort of the basic research methods, and they practiced a lot with that in that training week. And then because they were paired with their peer to a project that was already running, they really learned from other researchers on how research is conducted at the unit.
It's been a great experience because I came to this project hoping to learn research skills, and I'm glad that I've been able to learn a great deal of research skills from data collection, transcription, data analysis, but more importantly, there were ethics that I didn't know about when you are conducting research. And I'm now fully versed with everything regarding research ethics.
The model of peer-to-peer support stood out for me, of me learning from my peer as my peer as well learns from me. And then also another thing which stood out for me was the way we were engaged. Our mentors did do a lot in this. They were just standing behind us, telling us, you know what, now at this point, get engaged in this, do this like this. Like in the whole process, we have really owned that process.
The most unique thing about the project was capacity building. When we came here as all, we never had experience of research. So they trained us from the word go, from the word research up to data analysis, and also the peer-to-peer support model where we all work and learn together as a team.
When we joined the DIY project, the group at MRC had experts who trained us in different research methods and other research programs. After that, our fears disappeared. We became more serious. We focused on learning research methods and analyzing data. After the training, we were sent to the field to practice.
Usually, the way people with disabilities have been participating in research has been by studying them as subjects, not them as researchers themselves. Because the thinking has been that they can't do it. So the whole idea, the main objective is to change the stereotype of people with disabilities.
I have a person that I met, and he was telling me that initially they were being interviewed by people who are in sight. And so they saw themselves as just objects. So that no, even don't trust some of these researchers. By this time around, when they saw their fellow with disability as themselves, they actually even told me more, I think, than what they were told by the other person.
They opened up so well. So, and even in the processes, like we were all laughing, the interaction really flowed just because they knew the fact that someone talking to them has also gone through the experiences.
As a participant in this research, I have never been interviewed by a person with disability before. It was such a great experience to have such a person interview me because it showed me that people with disabilities can be involved with research. I think that the person without disability will not understand deeply what another person with disability actually is going through.
What we've achieved so far is that we have made the unit itself more disability inclusive. We have really changed buildings, way we think about including interns and staff with disabilities at our research organization. We have also changed the views of people that work here about how they can include people with disabilities, and I think we have raised awareness also about different types of disabilities that people might not have known about before when different youth came to work with us.
So they've highly enriched our environment. They've challenged us in terms of understanding the importance of inclusion with a focus on disability, but even in a wider context. So that's open thinking.
The challenges they face are any challenges anybody who is in the research journey, learning research, will find. Personally, I have not seen unique weaknesses or unique challenges of the disability. The only challenge is to make sure that we are given the required technologies to enhance or to help them do what they need to do, which constitutes inclusivity.
What I enjoyed this first of all, I thought it's not possible. But with JAWS, it reads what's on the screen. With this, we were able to use it, like to use data analysis, which makes it possible for anyone without sight to see what they're doing.
Having been allowed to be part of the filmmaking, it just gave us a sense of belonging. It has given us a courage that people with disability are also looked at as important persons that count in society. And it also gives us the hope that whatever we are saying out or whatever we are airing out is going to help inform policies that are going to help us to be included in education, employment, and majorly research as a project that we are actually working.
I feel like this film is going well because what we have set out to do is what we suggested and it's what we have done.
The filming process was interesting. I was surprised that we sat together and discussed how to execute it as a team. This built our confidence, and by the time the filming process began, we were comfortable.
I think they are feeling empowered. If I look at them from the time they joined us, now we are now doing research, slightly different from the time they joined. I think they also feel they're contributing towards changing this, being part of this journey of changing this stereotype and improving inclusivity of people with disabilities.
This project gave us the opportunity to work alongside our mentors. And these mentors have shaped us, shaped my character, my outlook in life, and also in true career.
When I just left university, I did not know that I would have, I could change my career to research. I had a different one. But when I came here, I went through the different trainings. It has changed my career, of which now I hope to pursue my master's.
I never thought that I would develop a career in research, but right now, here I am, I'm a researcher, I'm able to do research, I'm able to collect data, I'm able to analyze it, and it has given me that feel of research that I can also do it.
The DIY project has really been so good. Actually, when we placed at the level, we were able to do very good work, which was appreciated, and with the project that we happened to be placed in, did not have a great company, but because of the good work,
most striking statements that I've heard from one of these youngsters is about, don't look at me and feel sorry for me. You should not feel sorry for me because I'm just as able in as far as what they can achieve is concerned as anyone else. We're very happy that we've contributed to that exercise and that it's matured into a program where we can offer more opportunities to more and more of these youngsters.
Dr. Okay, and your team of Gen Z. Let's appreciate the team with a nice clap. And I would request that you hold your questions until we get through the next presentation. Please note your questions. You'll get a chance to present them. Thank you so much. Then, I don't know, but maybe we could find out the next presentation. Okay, just hold on a little bit. Let's find out the next presentation whether it will be involving a team of more than one persons. If not, then we include the presenter here. The presenter is Martin Senkubuge, and will be presenting something about amplifying voices through art, creative strategies for inclusive development. Well, you can take a seat, and we'll request you to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, all protocol observed. I'm Martin Senkubuge. I'm a visual artist, a researcher, and a curator. So I'm going to talk so much the language of art, but it also involves life. I want to highlight that we have a documentary on our YouTube channel, which is 38 minutes. But for the interest of time, I understand we've all been here from morning until this time. And I will thank you so much for your patience and for your diligence. I will only present a PowerPoint presentation of about 10 to 11 minutes. And then, if you're interested in knowing more about this work that we're doing at Mundo Foundation, then you will be able to just visit our link, our YouTube channel, and you'll get to know much more about what we do. Can I have a clicker, please? To keep following up or the team will help me? Okay, all right, thank you. All protocol observed. Good evening, everyone. Imagine for a moment that you wake up, look in the mirror, and see light patches of your skin have turned white. Now imagine the reactions of people around you. Confusion, pity, or even fear. This is the daily reality for over 70 million individuals living with vitiligo, a skin condition that affects people of all ages and races. You must have heard the term Abarumobamocha. I understand it's in Uganda, but it's translated as burnt by twins, or people burnt by twins. This is how we identify this here in Uganda. It is a common saying, but one rooted in deep misunderstanding. Today, I'm here to change that narrative, to tell a different story. One of hope, inclusion, and empowerment through the transformative power of art. My name is Martin Senkubuge, co-founder and team leader at Mundo Foundation, which was founded in 2019. Mundo is a Kiswahili word, which means patterns or designs. Our mission is to amplify the voices of people living with vitiligo through art and culture. At Mundo Foundation, we believe in the universal language of art, a language that goes beyond barriers of speech, culture, and education, connecting us on a deeper and more human level. But before I dive into how we are doing this, let's take a quick trip down our memory lane. Think back to your childhood. How many of us learned our ABCs, numbers, or animal names through the colorful charts, drawings, or perhaps even those humble illustrations on blackboards by our teachers? How many of us? How many of us? Those early encounters with art shape our understanding of the world. And now at Mundo Foundation, we are using the same principles to shape a more inclusive world for people living with vitiligo. The International Federation of Pigment Cell Societies, among other notable organizations, acknowledges that vitiligo as a condition that is a condition that can result in significant disability due to its profound psychological and social impacts. This recognition underscores the importance of what we are doing at Mundo Foundation. Our work aligns closely with Uganda's third National Development Plan, specifically contributing to the community mobilization and mindset change program. Through community engagement and awareness campaigns, we are challenging societal mindsets, fostering a culture of acceptance, and driving true community mobilization, hence promoting social protection and inclusivity for all Ugandans, especially those marginalized due to conditions like vitiligo. We have a number of success stories that illustrate the impact of our transformation, of our transformative work. But let me share with three only. Earlier last year, in 2023, we went on a cultural excursion to the Nebi and Pakwach districts in the West Nile region, funded by the British Council, Uganda. During this trip, we engaged with local leaders and the district health officer, who emphasized the need for dermatological care and public awareness about vitiligo. Participants in this 4-day trip experienced a profound transformation. Many found a renewed sense of self-acceptance and self-esteem. This second story is one that truly embodies the spirit of Mundo Foundation. In 2022, a young girl rejected from a job due to her vitiligo reached out to us. She was on the brink of suicide. Through her support, she found her voice and her confidence. Today, she is one of the most sought-after fashion models in Uganda, using her story to inspire others. This is the transformative power of art and community. On June 25th this year, 2024, British Council hosted a significant event for World Vitiligo Day, themed Unpacking Vitiligo, with over 50 people living with vitiligo in attendance, including members of the Vitiligo Association of Uganda and Mundo Foundation. The event was a resounding success. We partnered with Serene Beauty, Uganda, Satisfaction, UG, dermatologist Dr. Malik Sendereza, journalists and creative individuals to create a truly unique event focused on awareness, celebration, and solidarity by a number of partnerships. But let me share this too. In June this year, 2024, we collaborated with Disabled Women in Development, DWADI, on a health camp that provided treatment, screening, and awareness for over 300 people living with disabilities, including individuals with vitiligo. Secondly, our collaboration with Reach a Hand Uganda on the Undo the Taboo Art campaign raised awareness about both vitiligo and menstrual hygiene, contributing to the distribution of 20 reusable menstrual hygiene kits to young women in eastern Uganda. At Ruler Foundation, we perceive art as more than just a medium of expression. It's a tool for social change that allows us to tell stories, challenge societal norms, and humanize those who are often marginalized. Here are two initiatives that are integral to our future goals for community engagement. One, community murals and public art installations. We intend to collaborate with local artists and community members to create murals that celebrate diversity and raise awareness about vitiligo. These public artworks will be placed in high traffic areas, ensuring that the message of inclusion reaches a wider audience. The Vit Art Club and art competitions. This is another exciting upcoming initiative through which we intend to introduce inclusive art workshops and art competition programs focused on vitiligo awareness in the community and schools, respectively. These programs will encourage participants to explore themes of identity, inclusion, and self-expression, fostering a supportive environment where young people learn to appreciate and embrace inclusion. As we move forward, we recognize the need for these key things. One, a comprehensive community survey and documentation program to accurately assess the number of people living with vitiligo in Uganda. Secondly, research and education program to deepen our understanding of vitiligo and its impact on individuals and communities. This will equip the future generations with the knowledge and tools to combat stigma and promote inclusivity. Vitiligo art exhibitions and cultural exchange biannual programs to engage with communities in more interactive and artistic and cultural activities. This will yield sustainable transformation in our cultures. As we reflect on the importance of these community support systems and social protection, I want to echo the words of Zambia's former president, His Excellency Edgar Lungu, from the previous CBR Africa conference in 2018. He said, "We cannot provide for the disabled unless we know who is disabled, how many are disabled, and in what manner." Do we all agree with that? Do I need to repeat that? You can just take a look on the screen. We've had a number of challenges, some of which include mental health challenges, and each of these challenges, we believe it can be a developed program. The vision is big, but I know with time, one step at a time, we can get most of these challenges kicked out. We have challenges of mental health, capacity building, advocacy and policy influence, limited access to healthcare, limited resources, research and documentation, community engagement, mentorship in leadership, building partnerships and fundraising, and a few other little ones that can be handled. However, as a young organization, we have been able to collect a number of achievements regardless of these challenges. Reason why we are before you today. But we cannot walk the rest of the journey alone. We therefore seek partnerships, collaborations, grants, and all forms of funding in order to impact the bigger part of our communities. As you've heard the projection of the next goals, the future goals, and the programs that we intend to bring into our communities, there is a need for working together. So I ask each of you, if you've been moved by our work, if you share our vision, please join us, whether through participating in our... Let's work together to spread awareness and spread light. I am happy to take any questions that you may have. Thank you so much for God and my country. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Another, wow. Transformative power in use of art in awareness by Martin Mundo Foundation. Let's give him, let's appreciate him with a better clap. At this point, I think you've been picking your questions. I know we are just at the end of the hour, and we will let just a few minutes. It's about learning. And as I said, documentaries are quite inspiring. And I think from what we've gone through, we've realized that they are quite inspiring. We'll take a few questions, and if you ask a question, please indicate who the question will be directed to. And I hope there will be a mic passing around. Let's have a few minutes for question and answer. Anybody with a question? Yeah, there is the first question there. Any mic around? Anybody taking a mic around? It's a question and please stand so that you see.
Everyone, my name is Nyamiza Hope, a student of community-based rehabilitation at Jambo University, and also disability inclusion advocate. I also work with, I volunteer with Deaf Sign Alliance. So my question goes to MRC. As you were picking up these youth with disabilities to take part in the research, were you considering certain fields like profession, or you just randomly picked up youth with disabilities that were capable? And then is it like a certificate, or it's just a training? Maybe we can say they are junior associates or whatever. Then what was the research about? Because I kept on watching the film, but I was asking myself, what was the research about? Maybe I didn't get it clearly. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, anybody? That was the second hand.
Yes, the second hand.
Oh, you already have a mic, please. Thank you.
My name is Patrick Ojok. I'm a disability studies scholar. I enjoyed the sessions, the presentation from the team and from Mundo Foundation. One is I'm really thrilled to know that there's a lot of amazing work in the disability field in the country, and what that calls for is the need to kind of amplify this, share this, but also put them, document and make this kind of information available in places where they can be searched and located by people who cannot come to a platform like this. I really stood to thank the Mundo Foundation work. I thought it was quite unique. In many cases, the work of art is not so much appreciated, and not least when it comes to the disability arena. But I think what Mundo Foundation work shows is that there is power in disability art. But in our country, I think this is an area that is not yet explored, not yet given a lot of attention. And so his call for partnership and other kinds of support was very timely. Then coming to the team from MRC, what stuck with me from your presentation is the need for inclusive research. Inclusive research is an emerging concept that underscores the need for research on disability by persons with disability or disability researchers to kind of change the traditional norm whereby disability research is done by non-disabled persons for persons with disability. The team has demonstrated that. They've just shown that it can happen. So thank you and team, I think this is very good, and I'm only here to say that we need to embrace inclusive research, and by extension, let us indignize inclusive research, doing it from an African perspective and not so much from the colonial patronizing perspective. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I did say that I am from Kangogo University as well, and the Dean of the Faculty of Special Needs and Rehabilitation. We invite you for a conference in November on inclusive higher education. You can search from the Kangogo University website, and if you're interested in participating, you are still welcome to send an abstract. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was more of a comment. There was another hand there, but anybody with a mic, please table here. But already we have someone here with a mic ready. Please, there is someone who raised his hand here, all the way from the beginning. Raise it here. But now that you have a mic, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My inquiry is directly to MRC presentation. One, I want to first appreciate the team for the research done. It is so thrilling. It's very exciting to get information that you've really gathered out. And for us as persons with disabilities, wow, it's wonderful. My challenge or my concern with you is where the OPDs, where the Organization of Persons with Disabilities, when we are designing projects and then implementing projects, our interest is we want to solve some of these gaps. But then how do we get part of this? So there is a missing link that yes, you have the research, but then where do you eventually take it to? And my question is this an academic research or it is action-oriented research? And then what opportunities do we have in the research that you've done? I would think that then you need to get to us as OPDs, then work together and implement the recommendations. I just want to share this. My organization prepared, I convened a conference, it was a workshop, discussing on the ways on how do we enhance the performance and why the children are really failing. And I really believe that your research has so many responses. Now we missed an opportunity from you guys to come and make a presentation or share with us. So what opportunities do you have in your research to translate your recommendations into actionable research and then find solutions to the challenges that we have? And let's thank you for the job well done.
And the presenters at large are by names of Dennis Fanizo from National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, My question goes to MRC, and they mentioned that in my thoughts I was asking myself, how did they do it? Did they pattern them with maybe already senior coaches? And it's a question that goes to them to throw more light on how that was done. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's address those questions. We will start with Femke and Tim, and then we get to Martin. Yeah, welcome.
Respond to the question from the lady that's rehabilitation. One, the recruitment process. How did we get into this project? I'm a researcher, so I was a recruited part of this team. The recruitment process was that they shared an advert, MRC shared an advert through organizations of persons with disabilities and other platforms, their websites, and so we applied normally, like you apply for a job. There was no exclusion of a course that you did at bachelor's. The qualification that you should have at least a bachelor's. That's a standard for medical research council. So all of us that had the bachelor's, we applied and we competed favorably. 200 applications were received. We competed through an oral interview, but also an activity, like my colleague shared. So 14 weeks researchers were chosen. 7 with disabilities and 7 without disabilities. So that's how we got into the project. But we said you didn't understand what the research was about. We said this was a capacity building project. One, to equip us with the project, so with the skills on conducting research. So we were trained how to conduct research. We shared there, we had the initial training, then there was some other training that would come through as we are undertaking our internship. And therefore, after the training and internship, we collected, we implemented life history data. This is where you collect information or a story of an individual. This case, we collected stories of youths with disabilities, documenting, focusing on education, their participation and inclusion in employment, but also their participation and inclusion in social activities. And that's why I implore you tomorrow to come and listen to our presentation on My Sister is My Eyes. It is a wonderful presentation. You will learn how we navigate social participation as youths with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And maybe just to add, so all the youth were given a certificate of completion that was issued by the unit. So that's acknowledged by the unit, but also by other research institutes. It's not an academic transcript, so it's not the same as a master's or a bachelor's, but it was really the idea of motivating youth to join research and also and then when they join us, we do have possibilities for doing masters and PhDs also with scholarships, which we're expanding on. Let me first go to the question from the people about the VX-based support model, and Naomi, would you like to answer that?
Thank you so much for the wonderful question on the peer-to-peer support model. True. Remember, we said we were recruited in pairs where a youth with disability applied alongside with another youth without disability as his or her peer. And we kept learning together through the whole process. We are both interviewed together. And we went through the interview and won the interview together. We went through the training as a pair. Okay, I will talk about the qualification. The qualification said only persons with bachelors. They did not restrict to which bachelor that was needed. We use this peer-to-peer support model to learn from one another, sharing knowledge, idea. When it came to time of implementing our own project. Even when it came to going to the field, we went along with our peers. For example, I'm a person with a hearing impairment, but my peer had some skills in sign language, which meant that whenever I could go to the field to interview a participant, my peer was able to interpret for me. If I go to interpret another person with a hearing impairment, then it meant like we could interact without the help of an interpreter. So that is the peer-to-peer support model which was used. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. So we had 3 levels of peer support. One was the youth level, which Naomi has entered during their internship, that works with the organization and works already as a researcher. And then also we had peer-to-peer for our colleagues. So for example, I would be a peer to a colleague who was maybe supervising the interns that had come to them. So it was at 3 levels that we tried to have a peer-to-peer. The peer-to-peer model is part of our overall approach on which we have really developed from the Ubuntu Uramu project, and really looking into how we can have peer support and working together and reciprocity rather than maybe having a top-down process of learning. Last question for colleagues from UNAD, thank you for asking. So we have involved the OPDs in this project by having youth representatives on for the UNAD group, and we also have representatives from other organizations, persons with disabilities. The idea is also that, of course, we always disseminate our findings, inviting you for those activities, and I think we can definitely do better there to make the gap smaller, and also join you when you have activities. We'll be happy to come and share. In terms of recommendations on our website, also there's more information. We always put all our publications, including this film, on the website, so please go there as well, and also approach us or our youth researchers if you'd like more information. Thank you very much.
The website.
It was on our last slide, sorry. So the website, if you Google Disability Research Group, MRC, you'll find it, Uganda, at Uganda. That will be good.
It's your time. So anyway, but much of it was more of a comment. Do you want
to acknowledge that the call for action was perfect and right? So I don't think I have much to say, but I think just to remind us that this was a brief presentation from a 38-minute documentary which explains almost everything that we explored in West Nile during our discussion, where we had 30 people on trip living with vitiligo, visiting the individuals living with vitiligo in West Nile, and having them walk through the streets, challenging whatever perceptions, all the preconceived notions in the communities, and people were just shocked. And it showed us how much we have to actually go these conversations here, and it's done here, but to go on ground, use creative means, because creative means is entertainment, it's just interesting. So yeah, I didn't show any artworks in the presentation, but we have artworks. If you type in my name on the internet, if you type in on the foundation, you'll be able to watch all the coverages that I've had, all the art exhibitions we've had, vitiligo art purely. Some of you might mistake some of my works as photographs, but they will be hand-drawn. So if you check Martin Simple there, it will be enough to see the progress and read much of the content from the Guardian, BBC interviews and different categories that document all this work that we've been doing from the 28th of September. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Franke, thank you, Martin. Let's give the presenters another hearty clap. And for the sake of time, I think there's room for interaction. You've seen the presenters. Let's interact, ask more one-on-one questions so that then you get answers direct. And I think this session at this point. There is an announcement as I step down. Mengo Hospital is on site and there is screening going on site. So take advantage of this screening, especially during the breaks that we have. They are on site outside, I think where the track is. That's an announcement for this evening. Thank you very much, and thank you for participating in this session. Thank you. To the coordinator, Caroline Maholo.
Hello everyone. I know you're very, very tired. I hope you're all having a lovely time. And as a teacher, I always want to get a feedback. I either have it or I don't understand. So I hope you've had a lovely time.
Yes, I do.
Tomorrow is an intense day. As you've seen, we have a variety of topics. They are all lovely. And it all came from all of you. So having experienced what you've experienced today we had what we had before lunchtime. Starting tomorrow, tomorrow is the most hectic day we are having according to our agenda. So come ready to start interacting and learning in various forms, and I hope you're learning it. We shall be glad to have a feedback on your experience for this event, because of course through the feedback we shall be able to make the necessary adjustments. CBR Africa Network encourages information sharing. We have membership in 58 countries. Some of them are represented here. Some had issues getting visa clearance. But we are glad that you were able to come, and we don't take that for granted. Tomorrow we are having a link which we shall share with all of you. We would like people to log in and register with CBR Africa Network. When you register with CBR Africa Network, we encourage you to share about what you're doing in whatever form. In organizing this event, we would like to have a situation where we really network, where I look forward to a time when a person in Burkina Faso gets to do some piece of work with somebody from Cameroon, from South Sudan, from Egypt, from Namibia, from wherever you're coming from. And together, I believe we can make it. As you heard, we are different. We belong to different categories. We have some policymakers here. We have the academia, like myself. We have students. We have service providers. We have persons with disabilities. We have cultural institutions, religious institutions. We have government partners. The list is long. We would like to form and strengthen our network. Remember, we've done this for 23 years. Having done it for 23 years, it's time for us to look around, pick whatever good lessons we can, and try to put ahead. On our program tomorrow afternoon, we are going to have a session. Whenever we have a conference, we have a General Assembly. In the General Assembly, we expect all CBR members to attend. In this particular one, we shall be taking stock of the 23 years and we shall be making some decisions to strengthen our network. Remember, together we can. And I believe that together we can. What I would like to have from all of us is a spice. A spice where we really network. When I look around the room, many of you learned about this conference because in one way or another, wow, the whole of Africa to benefit from that as well. But we can't do it alone. We can't do it as a team. Thank you very, very much, and let's meet tomorrow evening. Other announcements will be made tomorrow morning. We are very sorry for whatever didn't go very well. Many of you registered, some of you didn't confirm. We planned for those who confirmed, and all of you came. And we're happy that you came. So now we are going to try and sort ourselves out. Starting tomorrow, everything is going to be perfect. Trust me, everything will be perfect. So enjoy the rest of the evening. Let's meet tomorrow morning. Remember the session starts at 8 o'clock.
To register, okay? Hello, please can you, those who did not register, please try to register, okay? We need your registration and make sure that you pay, okay? Thank you very much.
And crucial for achieving universal health coverage. That means that the focus on primary health care and community level interventions is remain and is actually more and more important. The call, the Rehabilitation 2030 is a call for action because we do know, as we said, that unmet needs are huge, in particular in the African region. So efforts to work with the health system to strengthen rehabilitation need to go from development of strategies at the national level, so action plans and monitoring plans at the national level. Improve integration of rehabilitation data in the health system, building comprehensive service delivery models, meaning that rehabilitation should be delivered at all levels of care in the pyramid of services, developing multidisciplinary rehabilitation workforce, meaning that not only rehabilitation professionals but also health professionals like doctors, nurses, persons in need of rehabilitation services and community members are part of this effort. There is a huge also call for partnership, meaning that when we talk about health system, we really mean not only the health facility structure, but also all the partners, resources, non-government organizations that contribute to the delivery of services. So it is important to look in detail on what we mean today by rehabilitation in community settings, because we will see that this can be made available for all through multiple mechanisms. If you look at the pyramid of the health system where, and the, let's say, structure of rehabilitation services at all levels of care, you know that we go from specialized high-intensity rehabilitation services at the tertiary level to rehabilitation in secondary healthcare level, and then the majority actually of services at the basis of the pyramid are actually multiple types of interventions, a variety of interventions that go from rehabilitation in primary health care, so delivered by health professionals in health facilities at this level of care, also through outreach. But we also have rehabilitation delivered at the community by other, let's say, workers and other professionals that deliver services outside of health facilities, and in homes, in schools, in communities, and also by, for example, mid-level workers in the case of CBR programs where they exist, and other more informal professionals. And then we have at the basis of the pyramid the informal rehabilitation and self-directed rehabilitation, where we find rehabilitation interventions delivered, for example, within peer-to-peer groups of persons with disabilities and with impairments, or playgroups facilitated by parents of children with developmental delays and disabilities. So you see that the basis of the pyramid actually offered most of the interventions in rehabilitation, and it is important. From the WHO point of view, there's a strong attention to strengthen rehabilitation at the primary health care, because we do know that the majority of interventions can and should be delivered at this level to allow access and also for continuity of care. And it is one example that I show you here that is quite recent is the development of the basic rehabilitation package, that is transferring skills to primary health care workers, meaning doctors, nurses working at this level of care for basic interventions. These interventions are never done in isolation, and they are need always to be connected to the other levels of care, of course, when it is needed. And they need to be also connected to the work done at the community level, for example, to make sure that the demand for services increase, and that we do coordinate the efforts of community-based rehabilitation and primary health care to have the maximum impact. I also thought it was important to mention a very recent, more recent, let's say, initiative of work around health equity for persons with disability, because this has implication also in the approach that we have working in particular with the health sector, but not only with the health sector. And this comes from the recent resolution from 2021 on the highest attainable standards of health for persons with disabilities. So we are still talking about health in general. In this occasion, a formal request was done by member states to develop a global report on health equity for persons with disability, and globally to develop a United Nations disability inclusion strategy, together with, of course, the development of resources to support this initiative. So why is it important to talk about health equity? Because let's say everyone need to attain their full potential for health and well-being, but there are causes that are avoidable and unfair that create inequalities for different groups of people and for different risk factors, let's say. Health equity is something that we should aim at, regardless of the differences that could be social, economic, gender, and disability. So that's a very strong, let's say, way of framing the right to access health for all. The WHO Global Report on Health Equity that was released in the end of 2022 provides a description of what health inequities mean, in particular for persons with disabilities. First of all, it provides figures. 1.3 billion globally are living with a significant disability according to this report, which means 1 in 6 people. But again, what do we mean by health inequities for persons with disabilities? We do mean that regardless the condition, the health condition, the type of impairment, in general, persons with disability live up to 20 years less than persons without disabilities, so premature death. They have also poorer outcomes, meaning that they live with more than double the risk for certain health conditions like chronic conditions, NCDs, mental health conditions, and of course they live with more limitations in functionings that translates into very big disparities in accessing health facilities and also the cost of families to access healthcare. So since these health inequities are due to unfair and unavoidable factors that affect persons with disabilities disproportionately, the Global Report on Health Equity for Persons with Disability also provides some recommendations that we are going to see in a minute. There is really still a lot to do to address health inequities for persons with disability, and we see it in live examples of people that are available also in the report to highlight this issue. For example, a woman like Kumba from Senegal with a physical impairment was refused, couldn't access, for example, sexual and reproductive health services because of disability, because of different reasons. Can be stigma, can be poor understanding from health workers around issues around disability, but also can be accessibility. So this is just one example of how it translates in when persons need to access services, health services. Another example, persons with disability are often excluded from prevention, even health promotion and prevention strategies. So all of this is clearly acknowledged in the report, the global report, to have also find ways to address these inequities. In the global report, the framework for the health sector to strengthen inclusion and the 6 building blocks of the health system, meaning that if we want to work on health equity, we really need to have a system approach, to have a transformation of how the health sector is able to look at this issue and address this issue. There are several tools that are available that are in a phase of implementation. This includes the Disability Inclusion Guide for Action, which is a national planning tool, basically that's for ministries of health to advance health equity for persons with disability. And this Guide for Action is a process that includes an evaluation of the situation, the development of an action plan, and the identification of priority entry points to integrate as much as possible disability inclusion into the broader health sector components. Ministries of health are the primary users, but as we said, the process really need to engage other ministries, civil society, organizations of persons with disabilities to be really representative of the need and to really reflect a collective effort. The Disability Guide for Action is being used in Tanzania, in Cote d'Ivoire, and it's at the beginning of implementation in Nigeria. So we hope that we will be able to share more about the lessons learned and the use of this tool for the ministries of health in this sense. The third reference that I wanted to share with you at the global level is the Community 2030 initiative by the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. Why am I mentioning this? Because this is potentially an opportunity to build on other existing CBR frameworks, the ones that we know, for example, the CBR matrix, to elevate the agenda of inclusive development at the level of the United Nations. This initiative reflects efforts in areas that are listed here, like national implementation, the importance of data, indicators, monitoring, and financing for development. I like to conclude with my intervention, just highlighting maybe 4 key points that we have seen thanks to these slides. The first one is, strengthening rehabilitation at the community level is crucial, is essential, and is should be part of efforts of countries to strengthen health systems for all. So this will continue in collaboration with all partners, community-based organizations, CBR organizations, civil society in general, and OPDs. It is important to include health equity for persons with disabilities at the center of any health sector action, and this is because the impact will be much higher when we work at the system level with the health equity lenses. Having persons with disabilities and organizations at the center of the decision-making processes, planning and monitoring of services, and essential also to continue working with the multi-sector collaboration and with communities. I'm sure that the people in the next panel will be able to provide lots and lots of examples and opportunities, concrete examples about this type of work. And thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a great continuation of the conference.
And of the entire organization, I would like to convey greetings to your Congress. I really feel pity that I cannot participate in this important event in person due to other coinciding obligations. Rehabilitation International is a global organization advocating for the rights of persons with disabilities. It was founded already in 1922 and has national member organizations now in around 100 countries worldwide. Founded in the US, it started as an organization to strengthen rehabilitation and inclusion for children with disabilities. That was at that time in a way revolutionary. Some highlights in its over 100 years of history was the creation of the symbol of access, known as the wheelchair logo, and in the 1980, the Charter for Disability that claimed for the provision of basic rehabilitation and the right time and the right place, and the full representation of disabled people on all public bodies making decisions affecting their lives. This charter built the basis for the development of the UN Convention of the Rights of People with Disabilities, adopted by UN General Assembly in 2006. Rehabilitation International is convinced that the concept of community-based rehabilitation is one of key strategies to realize the principles of the UNCRPD, in particular, but not exclusive, for countries with low resources. As you all know, it can enable persons with disability to fully participate in society and to foster inclusion of persons with disabilities in all areas of life. It is also important to strengthen the role and recognition of persons with disabilities in society. In many countries, it is the only way to deliver rehabilitation and includes strategies to fight poverty and often is related to the experience of being a person with disabilities. Furthermore, as community-based inclusive development, it makes clear that participation and inclusion of people with disabilities significantly contributes to a society, including its cultural and economic development. I want to express my deep respect and gratitude for all CBR workers, most of them working at a voluntary basis. However, the relevance of CBR and CBID is obvious. It is, more than ever, crucial to defend this concept at the global policy level, and RI is working on this. Just 2 examples. RI board members strongly advocated to implement the concept of CBR in the recent resolution of the World Health Organization on strengthening rehabilitation. Furthermore, we advocated to include the access for all persons with disabilities to primary health care services in the UN High-Level Political Declaration on Primary Health Care. Last but not least, it is important to do more scientific research on the relevance and outcomes of CBR programs. This cannot be done by just using standard methods of rehabilitation research. We need to adapt appropriate methods for the research on the outcomes and outputs of community-based rehabilitation. As President-elect of Rehabilitation International, I can assure you that CBR and CBID will be one of the central topics during my presidency. This includes to further develop CBR theories and concepts, to work towards practical guidelines, to develop updated narratives, to support research and science on CBR, as well as to advocate for the implementation of CBR at a global level. For acceleration and intensifying such work, the Executive Committee of RI in its last meeting decided already to establish a new task force on CBR. I wish the 7th CBR-CBID Africa conference a good success and all of you good discussions.
To the Entebbe Imperial Beach Hotel. We're going to have a panel discussion, and it touches one of those themes that the past 2 presentations have detailed a little about: equity in health. And our moderator for this beautiful panel will be Dr. Alice Ngama, Please put hands together as we welcome Dr.
Thank you very much, our most excellent MC moderator. Thank you. You're welcome to the panel discussion on equity in health. On the panel, we have Dr. Jimmy Ochorin. Could you please come forward? We also have Josephina Bangalan, Director of Site Savers, and Heba Hagras, Dr. Heba Hagras. Thank you very much. Who is not here? Okay. So let me start with my most recent boss, Dr. Jimmy. Dr. Jimmy works with the Ministry of Health in the Rehabilitation, Disability and Rehabilitation section. Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome, Honorable Sandy. Dr. Jimmy, you're welcome. He's very, very keen on disability. He has worked on a number of policies and integrated rehabilitation into the quality assurance of the Ministry of Health and other structures. Another clap to Dr. Jimmy. Josephina Bangalan. Josephina is currently the Regional Rehabilitation Technical Specialist for Humanity and Inclusion, East Africa Regional Office, that is for Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. She has 20 years experience in development and humanitarian intervention, supporting countries to improve rehabilitation services and appropriate assistive technology within CBR programs. You're welcome, Josephina. Dr. Heba Hagras, I hope I've pronounced it correctly, is the UN Special Rapporteur on the rights of persons with disabilities since 2023. We are really privileged to have you here. The Special Rapporteur are independent experts giving advice on human rights concerning specific rights. Her work is with governments, NGOs, organizations of persons with disabilities, and individuals to monitor specific human rights. Let's give her another double clap. Dr. Anthony Wani is the country director of Site Savers Uganda. I believe many of you have interacted with Site Savers. Site Savers works a lot in the area of education, inclusive eye health. You're welcome. Honorable Musanja, can you introduce yourself?
Hello. Thank you. Morning, everybody. I think my bio was in Zambia and delegation leader for the Zambian team. We brought a strong team of 27 members. It's one of the biggest, almost the biggest apart from the host Uganda. Yeah, so another clap for us. I'm a member of the Health and Community Development Committee in Zambia, as well as the Legal, Human Rights and Governance Committees. These are portfolio committees of Parliament in Zambia, as well as chairperson of the Disability and Inclusion Caucus at Parliament. And I've got a long history in the disability sector. I come from the disability sector. I was elected in 2021 to Parliament, straight from being country director for CBR Zambia. And before that, I had also been regional director for Rehabilitation Disability in Southern Africa and in South Africa, as well as country director for and the establishment of CBID International Zambia from 2004 up to 2012. So that's been my history. Thank you.
Wow. We have a very impressive panel here. I'm feeling very intimidated, but we are going to dig and get a lot of information from them.
Actually, I can add that I'm one of the few faces in the camp since 2007 in Johannesburg. So I've attended all camp except one. Maybe with the chair and Carol and who else has been in this camp. I think there only maybe 3 or 4 of us who have attended from the around 2004, 2007 up to today. We were in Ghana, we were in Nigeria, we were in Kenya, and in Zambia, and we are here. Thank you so much.
So I'm going to give you the title Tata Pan. Tata means father, and not Tata Pan. So we are going to look at examples and opportunities for equity in health for persons with disabilities. We'll start with a few slides. The last 2 presentations set the context and the direction WHO is taking. So we're going to look at equity in health, which refers to the principle of fairness in health and healthcare. It emphasizes that everyone should have a fair and just opportunity to attain their highest level of health. This means addressing disparities, inequalities that exist in health outcomes and access to healthcare services. The components of equity in health, disparities, there's need to recognize and address the differences in health status, the healthcare access among the different populations, including the socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, gender, geographical spaces. Where I got this from, they did not include disability, I included disability. So you can see the discussion is all on equity of health, but this particular document had left out disability. Another component is the social determinants of health. These need to be understood. What influences the person's health, a range of factors, including education, income, environment, social support, and in some places, especially here in Africa, whether you are in a state of emergency or war, or whether you belong to a certain tribe or people, all these can be social determinants of your health. Another one is access to care, ensuring that all individuals have access to necessary health care. Empowerment, promoting the capacity of individuals to take care and control of their own health outcomes. And then the policies and the systems need to change to advocate for equitable practices and reduce health disparities. So I've been reading a paper, a recent Lancet paper on PHC, and Africa, just like Asia, our health provision is shifting to private practice for curative care. We are still depending on government initiatives for prevention, but some of the promotion we have to take our own initiatives. Rehabilitation is still very much a private sector issue in both Africa and Asia. So that was quite interesting. So now to set the ball rolling, I'll start with to hear examples of where health equity for persons with disabilities has been promoted. Josephina, may I start with you? If you have specific examples, especially at national level.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, example of health equity at the national level, humanity and inclusion is operating in Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya primarily to support the humanitarian intervention. We returned to Uganda, for example, supporting the refugees communities in Uganda coming from South Sudan and Congo. And we particularly focus on providing rehabilitation services, access to the refugee community and the host community at the refugee receiving district, thinking that this would bring forward an access that is often not available at a larger scale in the rural area. So this is a challenge that many people, not only the refugees, but the host community are not able to access because the services are available farther from them. So they are not available within the primary healthcare level. They have to access services from the district level or even to the regional level, which is oftentimes not easily accessed because of, economics. People cannot afford to transport themselves several times in a week or in a month to receive rehabilitation services. Even reaching the level of getting referral for rehabilitation services, a lot of people are not able to receive primary care, understanding what do they need at the health, in terms of health needs, and therefore requiring rehabilitation services. So there is always this disconnect between what the people need and what is available at the community level. Therefore, people often miss the opportunity to receive early intervention, and we find that the needs for intervention are often late, and the management that is required would be more long-term. So we miss the opportunity that the people receive early intervention, therefore improving their life earlier and not resorting to more health needs and disabilities.
Josephine, let me turn to Jimmy. As a Ministry of Health official, these gaps which he has addressed within the refugee community actually extend to the rest of the population. What is the ministry doing about this or planning to do?
Hi people, my name is Dr. Jimmy again, working with the Ministry of Health. There is a lot that the Ministry of Health is doing to make sure that we don't leave anybody behind, including persons with disabilities. And this also includes the refugee settlements that Josephine has talked about. And if you're very well aware, not only the Ministry of Health, but government of Uganda, or even our country, is actually one of the leading countries as far as, accepting or housing or hosting refugee communities in this country. So there is a big political will as far as government is concerned, but not only the federal government, but also our Ministry of Health, in making sure that we provide health services for all. Importantly also is that the Ministry of Health is making sure that we strengthen both the two delivery platforms of health, that is facility-based service delivery platform, but also the strengthening the community-based service delivery platform, so that we are very cognizant that the biggest percentage of our communities first seek health care in one or the other at community level. Almost 60 to 70% of our community first seeks health care outside our health facilities. So it's very deliberate by the Ministry of Health to strengthen the service delivery platform at community level, where we have a number of structures at community level to deliver integrated health services inclusive of rehabilitation services. And lastly, we have very strong policies in place that really are looking out for provision of universal health coverage, meaning that all communities, inclusive of refugees, are able to access free, affordable service, health care, of quality health care services. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jimmy. Often government says we are doing this, we have done this, but the actual access to care is very different when you come to the ground, when you come to the reality on the ground. I'm just turning to site savers because you've been working with communities. What are they've mentioned in the previous presentations, the main gaps in access to services. We know women with disabilities are having issues to attend reproductive health. Eye health is not accessible to all. What is Site Savers, as a representative of other partners in rehabilitation, doing to actually get the services to people?
Good morning again, and thank you for this opportunity. Site Savers is a UK-based agency that has been in Uganda since 1994, and our mission and vision is that we want to ensure that nobody goes blind from available courses, and we're also advocating for equal opportunities for persons with disability. When it was founded, it was focusing on the eye alone, but now we are looking at all other opportunities, other disabilities. Now, how do we work? We work with partners, and our main partner is the Ministry of Health, and we also work with other NGOs. So in our projects, what we want to do, we want to ensure that everybody, including people with disability, have access to the services, and we align our services to global strategies and principles. For instance, universal health coverage, leave no one behind, and SDGs also 3, which is on health and well-being. Let me take an example of our eye health. What do we do? First of all, we are working in Karamoja, and what we do is that we ensure that people who are hard to reach benefit from the services. We go to the mountains, we go to the cattle camps, and we bring these people for eye surgeries in Morocco referral hospitals. This is to ensure that the barrier of financial, the barrier of distance is solved, the barrier of financial constraint is solved, and we also give health promotion to change their health behavior. So in this way, we feel that people with disability will access. What have we done in health facilities? We have built ramps, because we noticed that physical barrier is also one of the things that prevents people with disability from accessing the service. So we have done that. We also do neglected tropical diseases, and in our principles, we have supported treatment of people with disability. Whenever we go for mass drug distribution, we ensure that people with disabilities who are kept indoors are brought out for treatment. More often, families do not want to bring them somebody and feel that it's an embarrassment to bring somebody with disability. But we make sure that we ask, is there anybody else inside? And then we ensure that they are hidden. We also support the Ministry of Health to develop some policies. Like we support the Ministry of Health to develop NTP master plan. And in the NTP master plan, we have the aspect of health equity. We ensure that it's there. We also support the Ministry of Health to develop eye health plan. And in that plan, we also ensure that there's equity for persons with disability. Then how do we know that people with disability are being catered for? What we have done is that we have decided that data should be held disaggregated by disability, so that when you analyze the data, you will ensure that the proportion of people with disability appears. Because if you don't do that, you'll never know that people with disability have benefited from the activity. So we've done that. We've gone and advocated that the Ministry of Health develops the HMIS, includes an element of indicator on disability. In this way, you can ensure that people with disability are catered for, and that will be the evidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm really grateful for the international NGOs. We're grateful for the international NGOs that contribute to providing services which ideally should have been provided by our governments. But our governments have a limited resource envelope. But also very important is that rehabilitation is usually an unfunded priority within our governments. I just wanted to go to Honorable Nsanje because Zambia has gone far ahead of many African countries in the government itself, owning community-based rehabilitation, community-based inclusive development, and if you could tell us how you have harnessed this NGO support and turned it into a government program.